Hey everyone, it's Jim
and Charles
from Valves & More, an online vintage tube store. And today in Tube Lab number 263, we're going to take a first look at the freya+.
Well, first look for us.
Yeah, well, we've been supplying sets of tubes for the Freya for years. We must have set up quads of tubes for Freya owners, vintage tubes.
Hundreds of them. Yeah.
Hundreds. I was trying to figure out how to get to the hundreds. Yeah, I mean, not thousands, but definitely hundreds of sets.
So we've gotten our hands on one, and we're going to have probably a little series where we take a look at it, and we'll go into that a bit more in a few minutes.
But first, caution everyone, electronics and tube amplifiers can have very high voltages present, which can be lethal. Exercise extreme caution when working around them. Always consult a professional technician when in doubt. Well, I hope everyone had a good little break. We took off a week, and in fact, we were working on the video on Friday, yesterday, and we had one of our little mini computers that runs our digital side
just died.
Yeah, it died. And
it was just one of those days.
Yeah, it was one of those days. So now we're filming on Saturday. So, yeah. So my apologies.
Better late than never.
Yeah. Okay. So you may be wondering why I've got a set of a quad of 6SN7s on display that we don't sell, and we've never sold them. Well, these are the upgraded tubes that came with the Freya that we purchased locally. We were really lucky to find a lovely gentleman who was upgrading to
I think it was a pass amp, wasn't it?
A pass preamp and a pair of pass mono blocks and a big huge power conditioner. And anyways, he was a really nice guy, and he brought the unit over so that we could check it out and make sure it was working, and it was just in absolutely pristine shape. I don't think it's very old. And with it came this set of modern Tung-sols. Now, these are not Tung-sols. They're nothing like vintage Tung-sols. But that's the brand name. New Sensor owns the brand name for Tung-sol, so they can stick it on whatever they want. But basically, they are Russian 6SN, modern Russian 6SN7s, and we're going to consider these sort of the baseline for testing, and Charles will get you into that later on, but first we've got to prep these because the Freya has these awful sunken sockets. It's really the only thing I detest about the design, and once you bury a tube deep into a chassis or a top plate, the only way to get it out is to grab the glass.
And that's the last thing you want to do with tubes.
Yeah, because there's a glue bond here. And on vintage tubes in particular, that glue bond gets, I knew I was going to goof that up.
Yeah, it deteriorates over time, and it's not helped by having to wiggle something as you pull on it.
Yeah. Or even, pushing on it to get it in, but it's even worse when you're trying to get it out and extract it. So the solution, of course, is to mount it on a socket saver lifter, and we've been carrying these for years, and these we've sold thousands of. We buy them direct from the manufacturer. The gentleman who makes them is just superb, and he tweaks them to our specifications. This is actually his second generation, which are even nicer than the first gen he made. And anyways, the first thing you want to do with any tube, even a brand new tube that arrives, is clean the pins. Now, when we ship a tube to a customer, we clean the pins at the point of packing, even though they've probably been cleaned before for testing and listening.
If they sit for a little while, they got a new oxide layer on them, and it's just good to clean it off.
Yeah. Now, I know for a fact that actually Charles went through and did these, but I'm just going to show you how we do it. We mount two flappers, and this is about a medium grit nylon flapper. They come as kits, and it's going to get really loud, but I think Charles will suppress the noise for you. Now look at that, it's nice and shiny. The oxide layer is completely gone. And the importance of this, whether you're putting this this tube straight into a socket or into an adapter like this is that you'll have a very good electrical connection. And the number one problem we see, even in our own systems, but with customer systems, is you get a little bit of oxide layer on the pins, and you start to get a little bit itchy, scratchy kind of noise that you sort of hear once in a while. You wonder if you're imagining it. Is there a mouse underneath my chair? No, it's probably just a matter of a bad connection. It could be an RCA cable, and it could very well be the pins of your tubes. And I would say, 95% of the time, if we have a little scratch showing up in our system, a little
once we clean the pins, it goes right away. And we have to do that fairly regularly, though we do put our equipment through a lot of use.
Yeah, we use it commercially. So, okay, so the way you want to use a socket saver lifter is you actually want to load the tubes first into the lifter before you put the tubes into the amp. Now, a lot of sockets that are well designed are going to be snug. So you can see there's a little gap there, and that's probably just fine. I'm going to just gently give it a little rock and see if I can go a little bit more. I can't.
Yeah, don't force it if you can't get it further down.
So I'm going to call that done because it's in there tight, and there's absolutely no problem to have, a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a millimeter and a half.
You're not poking your finger in there and hitting high voltage, that's for sure.
Okay, well, let's have some fun and head over to the music room. Okay, welcome to the music room. And Charles has actually got a fun listening test planned to try and establish sort of the baseline sonics of the Freya with different sets of tubes. So what are you thinking, Charles?
Okay, so we are going to run the set of Tung-sol reissues, and these are considered the premium set that you can get directly from SHIT for the Freya. We're going to compare those to one of our favorite standard sets, which are the vintage Photon foil getter 6N8S tubes. And these are some of our favorite rock solid 6SN7 GTB equivalents.
Yeah, and we would consider these sort of like a quality vintage tube that is in the budget category.
Yeah, but it punches way above its weight in terms of what you get for sound quality out of it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to compare those two to our own 6N1P balanced preamp. And we're going to see what you guys think. We're going to listen to two different tracks, just a short section of each one.
Yeah, the first track's going to have one of our favorite vocalists. And it's a really good, clean, clear recording. Audiophiles use it all the time for testing.
And the second one is a great jazz instrumental. So we'll be able to really test these tubes and put them through their paces. Hopefully
we don't get banned on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, we always give up the royalty. We don't monetize the channel anyways, but when we put up copyrighted music, the royalties will go to whoever owns the copyright. So, and that's fine. We just let that go.
Yeah.
And listeners in Russia, the music's banned, so you won't hear anything on that segment, and we won't get into that. But so you're going to do an A, a B, and a C, right? So we have three different listening
the first
sessions.
two on the SHIT and the last one on our preamp. And we're going to put them in the video, but we're also going to put links down below for the high resolution downloads if you want to listen to it on your own system with as minimal compression as you can get, basically.
Yeah, and Charles puts the signal chain up in pretty good detail on each of the videos. Now, of course, you're not actually going to know which set is in the SHIT, and I think we're actually going to come up with an ingenious way to scramble this, so you don't even know that this is in system. So the picture that's going to show up while the music is playing for this guy will in fact be the SHIT picture.
Yeah.
With the tubes hooded. Disguised. So, yeah. So you'll have ABC, and then you'll have ABC. So you'll have a total of 6 tracks. Go ahead and, feel free to jump into the comments and tell us what you thought
was your favorite,
was your favorite, and why, and when you hear something you don't like, go ahead and jump in there and mention why. I mean, a big part of our tube business was built on supplying vintage tubes for the Freya for the simple reason that modern tubes, as supplied with the Freya and people, buying in the open market, just simply found them to be
let's not bias what they think about them just yet. Okay.
Oh, yeah. What is that called when you put an idea in somebody's head before you ask them for their opinion?
I'm not sure, but I know it'll make for a failed experiment here.
Yeah. Okay, we're not allowed doing that.
Okay, so let's start off by getting some tubes loaded. And this is something that we wanted to show off on screen because it can be a little bit tricky with the Freya. We've had customers which have broken off guide pins or damaged the pins on their tubes, so it's good to show this on here.
Yeah, so why don't you zoom in for us, Charles?
All right, I'll be right back and we'll get a closer view.
Okay, now, believe it or not, some of our customers over the years have managed to jam in the adapter with the key in the wrong position. So the very first, and it doesn't matter if the tube is in a socket saver lifter or if it's just, bare on its own. The first thing you do when you're installing a tube is, the first thing you do is you make sure you got the right tubes. And in this case, actually, the set that we got included in the preamp, we tested for GM, for mutual conductance, and 3 of the tubes were really closely matched. Excellent close matches, and one of them was way out. So, so that's pretty close to 10% out. We aim for about 5% and better. And 5-6%, that's fine, but when you get close to 10%, that's starting to push the limit. So on the shit, from your point of view, from the front, the right-hand pair are the gain. That's the gain stages right here, both channels. And here's your cathode follower stage, or CF stage, or low impedance output stage. So a tube with mismatched gain really should go over here in the cathode follower. That's the safest place for it anyways. You certainly don't want it in the gain stage because you'll end up with volume mismatching, or imbalances would be a better way to say that, on your left and right side. So your left channel could be up, and I think I'm backwards from your point of view. Your left channel could be up and your right channel could be down, or it could be the other way around. And for quality sound and stereo image, obviously that's that's not going to work very well. So the first thing you do is check for that bloody key and find out where it is. And I always throw a finger on it. You can see the adapter actually has a key right up here. Now it's got 4 keys, but that really helps orient the thing. So with a finger on that, I look to see where that is, and I can usually hit it bang on without any more trouble. But we put in thousands of tubes a year. Now, if it's stiff going in particular, if this is a brand new unit, most companies don't break the socket in. Now, in our case, when we do a pro build for a customer and we build a kit, we have to actually test it to make sure it's working properly, and we'll even test the customer's tubes that they've ordered in their kit. We'll break in the socket, and we'll use a junk tube to do that. If this is your brand new shit that you're working with, well, the adapter is a good way to break it in, because you absolutely don't want to be sinking a tube deep into this sucker and burying it. So a gentle rock, not a heavy rock, just a very gentle rock will help get it down and seated, and then it won't take you long to get the rest of them in, and before you know it, you'll be listening to some amazing music.
Now, just a quick note about a stiff socket. It can be stiff whenever it's new like that, but it could also be stiff because you don't have that key aligned. So if it feels really a lot harder than it should be,
yeah, stop.
Take it out, take a look, and make sure the alignment is still good.
Yeah,
you don't want to force it in.
Yeah, especially if you're new to this. But if you got up and you're a little tired and you haven't had your second cup of coffee or whatever gets you going, this is the sort of job you don't do when you're tired or really not well focused. So if you're really distracted or feeling out of sorts, don't fool around with things like this, because it's a major pain in the ass sometimes to fix these problems. Sometimes you have to take the whole chassis apart to fix it. Sometimes you'll even have to pull the socket to fix it. So it depends on the design of the socket. Sometimes you're really lucky and you'll be able to get in there with some needle nose pliers and pull the broken pin out. The best solution for broken pins is not to break them in the first place. Okay, so we're all set to go, and Charles has got his recorder all set up, and just so that we try to avoid some comments on the video, the signal path is really, really short. It's going to come from our digital streaming device, which is in-house. So we're using a Raspberry Pi, and it's going to come through our Pontus 15th, and it's going to come straight into here with balanced interconnects, and from here we're going to take the signal right off, straight on to our digital Zoom recorder. And that's it. That's the whole signal chain. It's really simple, so should give us some really good resolution. So let's see how that plays.
Sunshine when he's gone. It's not warm when he's away. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and he's always gone too long. Anytime he goes away. Sunshine when he's gone. It's not warm when he's away. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and he's always gone too long. Anytime he goes away. Sunshine when he's gone. It's not warm when he's away. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and he's always gone too long. Anytime he goes away.
Okay, well, hopefully that was fun. I should have said at the beginning, this is not going to be a series of episodes to bash it. They've produced a really high quality product. Thousands of people have had these freya+ in their system, and they absolutely love them. Do they sound better with a quality vintage set of 6S N7s? Absolutely. But there's a couple of things we want to look at in future episodes. Number one, we want to see, can we get a 12-volt filament supply into this chassis?
Yeah, as far as we know, nobody's tried it. We don't know if it's possible, but it's something that we're really curious about trying because of the poor availability of the 6-volt 6S N7 tubes.
Yeah. Number two, we want to open it up and show you the circuit. There is no published schematic. In our kit business, we publish the full, complete schematics for every design that we release to the public. We don't publish prototype work for the simple reason it's not finalized. But any finalized design, we essentially give away to the public, free manual and free schematics. Mm-hmm. I wish all manufacturers would do this. There's nothing secret about these circuits, folks. You know, the designer may have thought, oh, that's a nice little innovation, and sure, maybe there is a nice little innovation in the cathode follower circuit. We suspect there is. Does it contribute to better sound, mediocre sound, average sound? We don't know really. But you know, the schematic is a great thing to have. Because this is not our product, we can't draw you a schematic for it. Mm-hmm. We might be able to actually show you the basics of the generic circuit, but we can't give you their schematic.
And if we find any way to improve it, we probably have a little additional schematic that will show how that can be done.
Yeah, and the other thing we want to see is, in listening tests, we were really quite happy with the sound overall. It was very good. And I won't say which set of tubes it was very good with, but we did hear a very thin veil over the music as compared to our prototype balanced preamp, which is going to be going into production hopefully this month. So Charles is working away on the manufactured components, mm-hmm. which is a big deal. Because of course, when we make an order for parts, we want to get, you know, the PCB has to be right. Otherwise, you know, we'll end up with our first order of PCBs going to the landfill, which would be a disaster. So that's coming late in January, I hope. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what we can discover as far as component choices. Coupling capacitors in particular can make a huge difference. They shouldn't, but they do. So we'll want to see what they are using in here for that. It should just be fun. Overall, though, I've been very impressed with sort of the compromises they made with the chassis to get it to a certain price point. That's always the deal, folks. If somebody's willing to pay you $10,000 for a quality preamp, well, any designer and manufacturer can build a really super preamp. The real trick is, can you build a really good sounding preamp that's decent looking, that's got the functions people want at a reasonable price point? That's when it gets difficult, because you're always balancing compromises. So every manufacturer, including SCHIT, has to make those compromises. And
it just seems like they've done a really good job of it here.
Yeah. The only thing I really don't like is the sunken sockets, and I've said that before. And actually the on-off switch in the back, that's kind of Mickey Mouse. But everything else is really, really well done. And the finish that they've come up with here on the chassis is really quite nice. It really hides, you know, the dirt and dings and dents. So yeah, well done, SCHIT. Okay, well, that's enough for our first episode, and we'll see you back. We'll probably do the next part of this in 2 weeks when we're back.
All right.
This is Jim.
And Charles.
Signing off. Cheers, everyone.